Hey guys, Aaron here. I've got kind of an interesting thing to do here. It's super common, but I don't see people showing it for whatever reason. This is a 1-inch diameter wave mill from Sumitomo Tool. Brand new, this is a 2-flute insert mill, and what I need to do to it is make it an inch shorter and relieve the neck a little bit. So this tool is for one of my day job customers, and what we needed was not available. So this is a 10-inch overall length tool, and it's a little bit too much for the application. We're going to be running this in a CNC mill, of course. We needed a long shank tool to reach all the way to the bottom of the feature, but it's a bit too long. I'm going to take off an inch on the back side, and then on this side, what I need to do is make a little bit more clearance on the neck here. So this is already relieved down about the first 2 inches, but we need to go a bit more. It's not going to be very much. We'll take off, I don't know, 25, 30 thousandths at the most. And anyway, to do that, I can just chuck it up in the lathe and just machine that in small passes, and that would work totally fine. But I wanted to do something interesting, and this is actually a suggestion from a buddy of mine at work who thought it might be kind of fun to put the inserts in the tool, spin the tool in the lathe chuck, and then basically machine a pocket for it out of an aluminum bar like this. And that would basically give me a false center. So the way this tool is made, there's no center hole in it. It's got a big gash in the middle, and that helps make a lot of room for chips, but of course you can't center cut with it. So what I'm thinking we'll do is basically make a groove in the end of this aluminum slug. It's just a piece of scrap out of the drawer. And then on the opposite end of it, we'll put a center hole, and then we can support this in the tailstock, and if we want to, even run it between centers on the back end. So these are diamond light coated inserts. This is kind of an interesting design. So these big chunky inserts for a milling cutter, even though it's only 2-flute, this is almost like a 4-seat insert for a lathe turning tool. So it's nice and big, and this coating is extraordinarily hard, which means it's going to last forever in aluminum. So I'm selling the customer this tool, but these inserts are going to last a really long time in the application because the products that they make are out of aluminum. I'm also going to use a DLC coated insert to machine this. I need to put a little shank on it so that it can be held in my drill chuck while we machine the groove in the face. So here's my Kyocera CNMG insert. It's actually kind of nice that it is a CNMG, so you still get 4 cutting edges on the normal quote-unquote corners. Usually with something like this, where you've got a nice high positive geometry, you would have a flat bottom on the insert, so it'd be like a CNMA, I guess, where the cutting edges, you only get 2 cutting edges on each angle. But anyway, this is pretty cool. I played around with it and showed a few things on Instagram, just the finish quality you can get with a diamond light tool. So we're going to use this to turn a little shank on our little slug. Time to get our tool in the chuck here, and I think it should be pretty accurate right out of the box, so to speak, because this chuck was set up with a 1-inch test bar, so it's adjusted for this diameter, so we'll see how close it is. Okay, all I did was move the camera, so this is what we last saw together. Ooh, look at that. Not bad. That is just a couple of tenths. So it's kind of what I expected. Obviously, there's always the fear that things have moved around or whatever, but if you watch me assemble my chuck, or disassemble it and put it back together and get it ready to use, that's what we got. It was about 2 tenths. You can still see my busted thumb from hammering out the master jaws. So yeah, that's definitely close enough for the work we're doing here. It's a couple of tenths. So like I said, the idea here is we'll use the tailstock to run the part into the aluminum, or into the inserts, and just create a surface that will match this perfectly. When we extend it out, it can be held on a center and run perfectly true. Okay, well, hopefully this isn't a monumentally stupid idea, but we'll see in just a minute here. I think that will get it done. We can still go deeper, but I don't see any need to. All we're trying to do is give support so that when we start cutting that relief, it will stay in the center of the spindle. So our relief needs to go up from the tip of the tool 3 3/4 inches. So if we just put our hook scale right there at the tip of the insert. Again, this is does not need to be ultra precise, so that's approximately where it is. Since the tool has moved in and out of the spindle, or out of the chuck rather, let's go ahead and double check it, just to make sure if it's moved, it hasn't moved too much in terms of the concentricity. Yeah, it's a tiny bit more. That's about 1/1000th. Which I'd rather it be closer than that. It's a bit better. One thing I've noticed about this chuck, if you tighten just one of the pinions, you get more error than if you tighten each of the 3 pretty evenly. Obviously that makes sense in theory, but in practice I didn't think it would make that much of a difference, but it really does. So I moved the tool out just a tiny bit and then tighten the pinions one by one, and we're down where we'd rather be. That's certainly less than a half a thousandth. The tool we're going to use is a Sandvik DNMG shape. So this is a 4325 grade. And the reason I chose that insert is this is H13 tool steel in all likelihood. I don't know for sure. That was my guess, and a colleague guessed the same thing. So I think that'll do just fine on here. Again, we're not taking off very much. So let's get this thing lined up with the very tip of the insert and then step off our 3 3/4. So we're wanting Z, since that's our longitudinal travel. Zero that out, make sure the insert's not gonna bump the other insert. And then we'll move down 3 3/4. There we go. So this will be the point that we want to stop, so I'll zero that. Now we know that's where we want to be. The other end of our operation here, so we can take this out, and this center is concentric with this shank, which is concentric with this cut. So that'll go on the tool like so. And then let's put a center in here. Just like my grandfather, this is made in Czechoslovakia. Now we're in tension here. Take the headstock out of gear. So the insert is pushing hard enough on our little tool here that it's rotating the center. Let's take 5/1000ths off to start with. What's happening? Okay. Whew. Looks pretty good. Good deal. So all that's left is to part that 1 inch off the backside of the shank, and then this will be ready to roll. verify again that our part is running nice and true, and it is. Okay, time to remove 1 inch off the length of the tool. So start the spindle and touch off with the side of our parting blade. Stuff was a lot tougher to part than it was to turn, but that's no surprise. Okay, we'll just clean up the face and make sure we've got a good center on this end, or on the through coolant hole, and then obviously we don't want that sharp edge on the corner. All done. We've got our neck reduced down a little bit and 1 inch taken off of the back of the tool holder. So this is ready to go in the machine. This is making some very cool aluminum parts, and we'll now be able to give it a real test in the machine and see if it's going to do all the things we think it will. But being able to actually have it fit is extremely important, of course. So 30 thousandths off the diameter here and 1 inch off the back, and that's all it took. Thanks for checking out the videos. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. That does make a difference. If more people are subscribed, then the algorithm sends my videos to more people to see. And when that happens, more people watch and I make a couple of bucks. This is a really time-intensive process to go through, and so having a little bit of a monetary incentive is meaningful. So thanks very much. You guys have a good one, and we'll be back soon with more.